Okay, well, I don't know. In case you actually caught that a little bit beforehand, sometimes my computer has a little bit of a delay. And I apologize for those of you who can't understand me that well because I have no teeth. Anyway, welcome to It's My YouTube and I'll blog if I want to. The show, well, the production values, well, you get what you pay for. And I have my shirt on backwards. I've never actually listened to anything by this band. I'm not even sure where I got the t-shirt, but I do intend to check them out at some point. Anyway, first off, a little bit of progress notes. This is a simplified body shell from a Mark IV Iron Man pattern, and the back plate is actually from a Mark 39 Hulkbuster mashup pattern that I found that I like a lot. Let me step back so you can get a better look at it. And, okay, cool. You can actually hear me. But yeah, you see how and basically what I'm doing is I'm kind of experimenting with techniques here and all. This actually is obviously two separate pieces. And what I've done here is, I think I still need to put a little bit more here, but I put like hot glue under a couple of different points. You know, basically to, and then I've actually taken some tape on a few things, just kind of give it some extra security. But I'll be actually going and flattening that against there. So you can kind of see right now it kind of comes out a little bit. So I'll be flattening it against that and popping hot glue on it to there. And then on the inside, and by the way, people ask me, what do you build it out of? And I tell them Little Caesars pizza boxes, and they never believe me until I finally show them. But what I'll probably be doing on the inside here is I'll be cutting some like eye slits, which basically look like the capital letter I. So that way what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to like take the flaps that form because of that, and I'll be able to, like where you have the back piece here that's kind of like, you might have a piece like that, I'll be able to take this flap of cardboard and glue it there, and then the other flap onto that side, whatever, and be able to kind of just give it extra security in a couple different points. Basically, like I said, it's kind of an experimental build, and that piece is designed for me to be able to take it on and off easy. What I'll be doing is, I think I might be hinging it somewhere in here, and then on the sides, I'm actually going to be splitting it once I actually do the hardening, which normally a lot of people use fiberglass. I'm actually going to be using this, which the water resistance on it, from what I understand, is very good. I'd actually be able to, not just go singing in the rain and all, but I won't have to worry about the rain messing it up and all once I get that done. But once I actually get the hardening done is when I'll really work on the opening of it. And what I'm very likely to do beforehand is I'm going to go and actually, like, once I get it hardened, decide where I'm going to do certain things, and that's where I'm going to make the cuts, and then put like cloth tape on probably both sides, and then a little bit of glue like where the seam is. I'll be putting the wood glue, so that it soaks into the cloth tape, on either side, so that it can still move, so that way I can, flip it up to be able to pull the whole thing off, and then pop it on, hinge it down, and then attach it, because I got some Velcro and everything sitting around. The chest plate that I had done, this I'm actually going to end up redoing a different chest plate. I mean, I like the design. There's a couple pieces that I still have to put back in on this. And what I may end up doing is still using pieces from this, but the original model that I used to create the pattern for it was actually designed for a foam build, where I used the cardboard and the 3D model has to be joined and like basically kind of one piece, whereas that's in a bunch of sections that I had to kind of attach and tape together to be able to hold the shape well. Um, so it's not a total wash, but it's just I'm not going to be able to use that specific piece. Although when I do jump into phone builds, that's when I may end up looking at going back to that chest plate. And then I'm mildly frustrated because I have an entire arc reactor pattern that I had made, which I may end up still actually using this particular page, at least these two big pieces that are on there. Um, yes, and see how I'm using the thing. Basically what it is that the original arc reactor piece will go on this outside ring, which will then have that in there, and then as you can see I've got that piece and the other, where's that? There it goes. Yeah, you can see those three pieces that are there. So it's basically a combination of the original arc reactor piece and the the one from Iron Man 2, I think it was, that he made. God, you think I'd remember which one he did, whatever. It might have been even Iron Man 3, I don't know. But either way, when he created the updated arc reactor with the vibranium, which, by the way, for those of you who don't know, the specific metal that the triangle piece was made out of was actually called vibranium. It's the same thing that Captain America's shield's made out of, and it also happens to be the one weakness of the only guy that can really stomp Daredevil's ass, a guy who is made completely of sound waves, and vibranium is the only thing that's actually effective against him. It's actually my wife's teacup. I forgot to I couldn't find mine, and it's been sitting on my desk. But yeah, that's what I've got done so far, because I've had to kind of redo a few things, and I've had to look at how other things, so that's kind of delayed my build a little bit. But I will be actually going on thing, and let me check this message. Did I ever watch Tokyo Mew Mew? Heard of it, I never watched it. Yeah, I know. I'm talking to a couple friends of mine. I don't really get to see that often, so we end up actually having a Google chat room that we just kind of basically I keep it open. I think he generally does, but we just kind of keep it open on the thing, so that way it's just at any point. It's because really just too damn lazy to email, and half the time he and I are too busy to actually call the other one. So we basically just keep the Google chat room open, and that's kind of just how we talk back and forth. And right now we're just kind of discussing anime. There's this new one, like Twin Tails something or other, or whatever, that I have to actually look at what the name of it is. Ore Twin Tails ni Narimasu. Which, I mean, I'm always on the lookout for different animes, and this one, I don't know, it looks like it might actually be interesting to check out, just based on, it just looks like a cool anime, although I do have a thing for redheads, with those, like, the thing, like the twin pigtails. It's always been just this, thing, I think mostly because of this girl that I dated at one point. She had, like, long red hair that went all the way down, almost to her knees, and she always kept it in the two pigtails. So it's always been just kind of a draw for me since then, but anyway, like I said, that's the progress I've gotten on the armor, which I will be continuing to work on. This is April, I've got till September to work on it, so if I actually start getting back to my build schedule, I should be alright. Anyway, a few things I found out about recently were just like, oh my god. Let's see, let's start off with the least bizarre, which I'm not quite sure what you actually hear in the other two. But there's the amiibo craze that's going on. And these are, I found out, because I bothered finally looking into them. I thought they were just collectible, I just thought they were, little expensive dust catchers. I come to find out you actually can use them, much like the Skylanders stuff, where in Skylanders you have this portal kind of looks cool. I actually want to get one just because I just think it looks awesome and it could be a good figure stand anyway. But with Skylanders, you have various characters with different attacks and abilities and so forth. And I know the game has like so many characters anyway. But when you go and you take the figure and you put it onto the portal, it unlocks that character so you can play it in the game. Well, the amiibos have some abilities. And when I finally read up on what the amiibos can do, I'm like, what? So, I mean, I may still end up getting, like, Mega Man, Samus Aran. Like, there's a couple of new characters that I do like that it's like, yeah, I mean, I like Mega Man, so, yeah, I would get the Mega Man, figures that I have up on my, thing, and, like, you can see, yeah, this whole collection of, and that's just some of, yeah, I've got, my Ninja Turtle. And yes, that is actually a scorpion, and that is a scorpion in a ball, which I just thought was cool. Let's see, I have my alien, and I've actually, speaking of aliens, I actually do have let's see, I've got the X-Files, got Dana Scully and Fox Mulder. I ended up with those while I was living in Atlanta. They were actually left at, the house I was living in when somebody, when my roommate ended up moving out. Yeah, you see, I got my Zelda Master Sword, and that's actually one of my favorite toys. Tron is one of my, like, it's second only to Iron Man for my kind of obsessions. And that is the blue card that is kind of what helped keep me focused right now. That is my pre-reg card, Dragon Con. But anyway, eventually I will figure out how to put my webcam on. But anyway, back to this thing about the amiibos. Like, they're being sold for like, I think, to call it $15, and generally about right. But people are going and they're buying not just the figures. They're going and mass buying the pre-order vouchers and selling those for like $70, $80, $150 for the pre-register voucher. And then you've got and it's like, I look at it and the figures don't even do that much. Like, there's one game that, yes, like Super Smash Brothers, you can use all the amiibos to actually play the character. And then in most of the games, you can unlock, like a couple of like little bonuses, new outfits, music and stuff. I mean, these are basically no use, no value whatsoever, other than the fact that you have a bunch of, I mean, people will sit there and they make fun of the Xbox, and anybody who actually tries to defend their love of the Xbox One after all of the privacy concerns and everything else, I mean, I'm sorry. There's a couple of games that I like that are Xbox exclusives that I'm sorry, it's not worth it. Although I may end up getting an Xbox One or whatever at some point if I find out that certain privacy concerns and such like that have been addressed. But I don't like how Microsoft basically, instead of making a gaming machine that can do all this other stuff, they tried to make this all-in-one device and then said, okay, oh yeah, and by the way, it can play games. So they basically said, fuck you to the gamers. And I really don't like a company that has made such great hardware and everything, and great games and whatever else, basically pissing in my cornflakes by very much saying that I'm an afterthought. That's kind of why I like Sony. That and the fact that I have a PS3 that I was given, but I like the Sony model and everything better. It's just, you actually have free online multiplayer. You don't have to subscribe. You have to sign up an account, obviously, but that is free. There is paid stuff that makes more in value, but you don't have to pay for to use the online features that come built into your games. You don't have to pay for a lot of stuff that should just be available to you. I mean, I can understand paying for a lot of the content. I mean, like, I'm kind of annoyed that the PlayStation Home is closing. I actually only used it like 3 times, but I'm kind of annoyed that it was closing because I was actually considering to start using it as some sort of promotional tool, possibly. But I can understand, you having to pay for like things other than just the basic stuff. If you want better furniture for your little virtual house that you have, or if you want these, better, cooler virtual houses that you can get to have your friends hang out in and everything, then, I mean, I can understand that stuff. But it was awesome because they sit there and they gave you a decent place to, to fool around with, to, make into your little place or whatever for free. So I mean, I like the PlayStation model better, but I mean, the Nintendo stuff is just like, what the hell? I mean, it's a complete waste of time and energy and effort on the thing. I mean, like I said, there are a couple of figures that if I'm able to come across or whatever, like Samus and Mega Man or whatever, just because these are characters that I like. I do tend to go for ones in battle armor and with wings. Like, I am thinking about getting, Pit, which is from Kid Icarus, and Dark Pit, which I found out about earlier today. I am kind of behind the times when it comes to a lot of the games I used to be big into. Like I said, this whole amiibo thing is just, I don't know what the hell. Okay, now, the other 2 bits of weirdness which have come across my desk recently, actually, I'm going to get the worst one out of the way. As recently as February, I think, I'm not sure, I have to actually go back and check the dates on it, but there was apparently a feminist who decided to abort her child specifically because it was male. There are, just do the search, because I really don't want to get into whatever, because I was watching one video that just, he was actually reading her blog about it, and all, so we knew, and I'm like, oh my god. This, I have seen some special snowflakes before. I don't even know where to begin to discuss exactly just how. Just needless to say, yes, this actually exists, because I saw several of the comments on other videos, like, oh, this can't be real, whatever, because the guy did not want to identify her because of the fact he did not want this woman to get any more traffic on her blog, and I can understand. There are several YouTubers out there that actually have shown where I think a couple of them actually give the link to it. I think the Atheist Gamer, I think, is one of them. Who, by the way, I love his blog. I love his show. He's funny as hell. And I've actually been getting into game theory a good bit. My wife actually watches that. But I do like game theory. I mean, this guy is really cool. But anyway, like I was saying about this chick, I mean, she just look, just look for it. Feminists abort fetus because it's male. Just Google it, do the YouTube search, you'll find it. I swear to God. If I did not think that there could be another example of how low humanity could sink after the things that I've seen over the course of my, let's just say I've got a lot of years under my belt. I look, pretty good. I'm actually about to be 43 pretty soon. I'm actually 42, sorry. Yeah, I'm about to be 42 soon. Which I know, I don't look it. I don't act it either. But, I don't even know where to begin with this woman. Just look it up, okay? Anyway, the other thing that I found out, I've actually just found out recently, I found out I'm not actually too far behind it, other than that fact that, yeah, I missed the first 10 years of it, is Chris Chan. Okay, and I ended up watching the documentary, and I mean, I do have some sympathy because, I mean, I know what he was going through. I am a mild autistic. When I hear him called a mild autistic, I just, no, he is not a mild autistic. He is a moderate at best. Okay? And, you know, there are people who actually try to justify what he did, which the latest in his exploits was going into a GameStop, which he had already been banned from if I remember correctly, and then defacing the display for the new Sonic Boom game. Not because the game sucks, which I haven't played it, I haven't really gotten much of a look at it and everything, but I mean, I'm sorry, the first couple Sonic games were good, and then, yeah, they kind of sucked. I mean, the game mechanics, the camera angles, you name it, it's a whole different thing on its own, but he didn't go off because the game sucked, which is, I mean, yeah, pretty much, I mean, I can understand him going off because of that. No, he goes off because they changed his arms from the sepia flesh tone that it was to blue. And this apparently was justification to vandalize the display and then squirt mace at one of the employees on their way out. Flouncing around in My Little Pony sunglasses and such, and I'm just like, I've got brony friends and all and everything else, so please do not think I'm making fun of whatever else, but this guy is just he made up the bastard love child of Pikachu and Sonichu, and then had the just swearing up and down because he was trolled a lot. So people sitting there and telling him that somebody was actually creating the Sonichu series and everything else over in Europe, and this guy just going off about his original idea stolen, which was in fact the hybridization ripoff of 2 other franchises. And I'm sorry, the way I heard it described when I heard about it was the bastard love child was the nice way of it. I think the other way I heard about it was that Sonic or Pikachu, I can't remember which one, fucked the other one in the ass and therefore shat out this creation. I'm sorry to sit there and think about the logistics of Pikachu and Sonic. I'm not quite sure how that would work, and then the other thing I saw was actually there was a picture of Sonic and Princess Peach in bed. He's smoking a cigarette, and she's like, "Well, at least you're faster than Mario." Oh my God, I cannot believe that. This is part of the reason why I tend to pretty much stay on Congregate.com, which is my gaming site that I'd like to play on. Or I tend to be looking at Instructables and various other technical stuff, because when I I don't just find the basic goofy whatever. I hear about like the various combinations in hentai or whatever else and all, and I'm like, okay, I gotta check this one out. And I don't just find the basic, I always find the just absolute what the hell. So I generally don't go looking for any of it, because I'm just like, oh, there is not enough eye bleach in the world for some of these things. Although I do have to admit, the Princess Peach and Sonic one, I was like, okay, Dad, that one was funny. But the whole thing with Chris Chan is that he's a mild autistic, and I hate when people sit there, because when I tell people that I'm a mild autistic, And they look at me like, okay, and I'm like, what? And actually, like I looked into Christian because of the fact that somebody actually was looking at me, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know if you're gonna go off like Christian did, and I'm like, who the hell is Christian? Thinking this guy lives in my town or something, and no, come to find out, he's this guy. And it's like people are actually trying to justify his actions. Because, well, he's a high-functioning autistic, and it's like, okay, look, I can tell you by experience that pretty much all of the people like Christian, like I used to be, and other people, even some of my relatives, it's not the autism. It is the not wanting to actually grow up. It is the attachment to this feeling of wonder, and I'm not sure how to describe it. Think back to when you were a kid, and just, if you remember this feeling like you were just kind of just wrapped in fur or cotton or some soft bubble around you, and having no concept of the long-term consequences of your actions and things like that, where you just had this complete freedom of emotion and whatever else. And some people don't want to actually sacrifice the fact that of having to think about others and having to take responsibility and stuff like that. And realistically, when it comes to Christian, I mean, I am normally not one to advocate institutionalization or anything like that, but I mean, if this is how he is, and I mean, like, I saw some of the videos, and like they showed footage of his family and things like that and all, and I'm like, this guy's parents are pretty old. His dad's already dead. What happens when he no longer has anybody? What happens when his mother's not there to rein him in or to clean up the mess? To make sure that the bills are paid or whatever. This is a guy that he needs supervision. I mean, see, I'm lucky. I learned, okay, I need to keep these parts of my life in working order, and then whatever else is going on, if I can get around to going to a movie or whatever else, alright, fine. If I have $5 extra and can get that game from GameStop or whatever, okay, fine. But no, I learned this is what you have to deal with, because I was in a situation in which it was either get my life together or I could literally have died. I could have actually had my life destroyed. And so I had to actually grow up. I had to actually get past the wanting to just hang out with my friends and smoke pot and whatever else. I had to get over my not wanting to actually, get a place to live. I was perfectly happy living on the streets, running around, basically waiting for the next time I got locked up. And not thinking about what's going to happen when I get old. What's going to happen when I can't physically keep up with this, having to scale up fences and things like that to get into the abandoned buildings to be able to sleep for the night. And I also got tired of not having a place to be able to, be able to store my things and have stuff to work on, like my armor and things. But I mean, I look at Christian, and I'm like, what is this guy gonna do? How is he going to survive when he's got nobody else? I mean, like me, I learned how to, thing, and like I said, this is a guy that needs supervision. Now, see, I'm lucky. My wife, she knew going into it that what I am, and I mean, I laid all of my cards down on the table. I showed her from the beginning that I am willing to commit, to trust, whatever else, and it has been the best thing I've ever had. And see, she's wonderful. You know, it's like when I'm actually working, she will actually come in, she will pick up my keyboard even if I'm in the middle of typing, she will put a sandwich down in front of me and tell me it's lunchtime. Because otherwise I could go 3 days and not realize I haven't eaten because I've been doing whatever. You know, been working on my armor, I've been doing, you know, working on different stuff and everything, and so, I mean, and I can maintain a functional life on my own, but I'm lucky to have somebody that's going to be there for the rest of my life, because she's younger than I am, so I know that, yeah, when I get older, I do have somebody that will make sure that I am helping keep my, basically help me keep my ducks in a row. But I mean, I sit there and I take a look at like people like Christian, and then I think about the other people that are out there and all. And I mean, I guess that's part of why. I mean, like I said, if you look in the description, you'll see the GoFundMe page that I'm actually working on. You know, it's the rehabilitation plan that I talk about is how to be able to use somebody's interests to be able to teach them usable skills. Now, for somebody like me, see, that what I'm coming up with is perfect for somebody like me who, my problem isn't working. My problem is holding a job. Once I actually get that W-2 form filled out, it has this psychological effect. I get restless. I don't feel secure. I don't feel safe. My anxiety starts to go up because instead of, like, if I was working, like, at one point I was doing landscaping. I was basically working for, you know, this one guy, and I was there pretty much every day. I think I actually worked, like, 4 days a week or whatever, because, like, the 5th day a week that he was doing stuff was actually, like, these really, like, low-level residential contracts or something. I can't remember what it was, but, like, I basically would be, would be going out with that crew 4 days a week. And I was actually making probably about, I think about $18 an hour actually, where everybody else was making like, I think, 15 or 16, because I was called an independent contractor. Plus, I'm pretty good friends anyway. But I was an independent contractor on the deal. And so the whole thing was, when I showed up there, it was because I was making my money. I was contracting out my services to a client rather than having to put up with my boss's shit until payday. You know, so a lot of people sit there and they ask me, well, if you can work, why can't you hold a job? Just explain. It's a difference between me being an independent contractor and putting up with my boss, having to put up with my boss's shit till payday. The actual psychological effect and cushioning of that is what does that. That's why I'm doing my businesses and stuff. Now, you see, I learn much better if I'm engaged, if I can actually see the results and the application of what I'm doing. For example, for costuming, I have to learn things like 3D modeling. I have to learn various fabrication techniques, such as working with fiberglass. I'll be actually doing some stuff with plaster strips at some point. How to use the body filler and everything else, which on the armor, I'll be doing like a thin layer in certain spots and just kind of rounding out certain corners. I'm giving it more of a refined armor look and all. Which will, help me learn, like, if I'm doing, like I've got a chair that I've actually got to, refinish. That, basic skills, yeah, I can sit there and take the wood filler and then push it in where I need to and all, and then smooth it down, sand it, be out the door. I've done board work and all, so that skill's actually going to help me apply on this. Now, later on, when I start to do things like, developing the hybrid vehicles that I've got interesting ideas for, basically I want to experiment to see if my ideas work. And if so, do they work better than what's out there? Can I make my stuff better and cheaper than everybody else's, and can I get it out there and make more money? As well as doing like custom computer cases and things like that. parts fabrication and stuff. I've got home automation stuff that I want to work on. So, but the thing is that the costuming and the basic level stuff is teaching me all of the skills that I need, such as programming that I'll need to do, to be able to get the cameras working for the home monitoring setup. Being able to create a working Iron Man helmet replica with a built-in display so I can actually see through like a camera mounted in the chest plate, teaches me hardware design. I need to learn either how to get or to write the programs needed to get that display working to be able to display stuff from the computer, which just got the feed from the camera, which then allows me to turn around and be able to design the hardware that I need for stuff. So basically trying to use my interest to learn the skills that I need. Eventually I want to try to figure out how to, if somebody's major interest is Pokemon, how can you teach 3D modeling, or how can you teach useful skills with this? And I know that probably may not work for everybody, and ultimately I may end up going into my secondary plan, which may go into my secondary plan, which is doing, like homeschooling stuff. We have a son, he just turned a year old, and we actually pretty much decided we're going to do homeschooling. Well, I will be able to do things like I will be able to teach him advanced engineering concepts, such as how shear forces, act on an object. Basic chemistry stuff like endothermic versus exothermic reaction, because when you do the fiberglass and you put the activator in there and it heats up, and so basically being able to use these things to actually demonstrate that by the time my kid's in second or third grade, he will have probably middle to high school level working knowledge of things. Like I said, anything is possible, so I'm seeing what it is that I can actually do. So, like I said, check out the GoFundMe page, and in the comments, I do have to do some update on it, but if you look in the comments, you will kind of see already the just the kind of scope and how far ahead that I am thinking in this. But anyway, like I said, also please, like, thumbs up, thumbs down. I just, show me what you think of my ideas, my videos, my politics, which, believe me, you'll find out a lot about that. And in the next couple of videos, I will be going into some of my own stuff. I will tell you, when I say that I have an absolute zero bullshit policy, I mean zero bullshit. I used to do meth, probably going on 12 years ago, and during that time period I did some really dumb shit, very selfish things. I didn't hurt anybody, whatever else and all, but some of the things that I did were just, I look back on it and I'm amazed that I survived. I probably should end up actually doing notes before I start talking. This actually went on about, I was really looking to cap this off about 8 minutes ago. Well, in any event, I will start uploading a bit more often, and for now, this is just kind of a catch-all blog that I'll be talking about everything else. Before too much longer, hopefully, because I do have to actually get my workshop kind of cleared out a little bit, so I have a real work area. And so I'll be actually splitting off my my build blog stuff into its own thing. I'm also going to be doing kind of maybe like some game computer tech review stuff or whatever, and another thing, just like more geek culture kind of stuff. But for now, this is just kind of just the general thing, and then we'll see how this develops and all. By the way, the YouTube is also part of my personal rehabilitation project because of the fact of having to actually get up on camera and actually talk to people and everything. Helps me get over, I don't know, some of my own personal, things. Like I said, I'll get into all that stuff later on because I actually have gone on a little bit further than I meant to. Eventually I'll be looking at doing like hour or so, probably once a week, and then I'm going to be trying to, do maybe like, 15 minutes or so every day. At least that's my basic benchmark goals for now, and then we'll see how everything kind of goes up. But I will be trying to make sure I upload at least once a week. Well, anyway, like I said, it's my YouTube, not blog if I want to. Thank you for watching, and like I said, we value production. It's like, we consider production value is very important, and you get what you pay for. In any event, thank you for watching, and have a nice day. And something I'll be doing, I'm gonna actually try to do it every time. I'm gonna basically steal somebody's closing line. Originally, I was just hoping to get hate traffic by people getting pissed off because they're like, you stole his ending line or whatever else. No, personally, it'd basically be whichever new YouTuber that I found or whoever my current obsession is. And I can't remember what it is that Onision does other than booby squeeze. But anyway, for like I said, but in honor of Omega Sin, I believe it is Alpha Omega Sin, who is right now is kind of my current favorite. Hey, nerds, nerdettes, and gamers, game the fuck on, and have a nice day.